God, this thing weighs a ton. These cabinets are going to be bomb-proof.
Over the rainbow.
What's today's objective?
We are mounting our, well,
No, we're not mounting anything yet.
we're gonna build some kitchen cabinets.
Okay, here's our plan. What's our plan?
We have no plan.
As of course, with anything in a Skoolie, we're making do with the tiny little space that we have. So our kitchen countertops in general, it's gonna include our sink and our oven, stovetop, plus a little midsection that'll just be countertop and some more cabinets. It's gonna be 5.5 feet total.
We have figured out our cut list for our stretchers, our side pieces to get us started. We're going to do this as we go pretty much. We have a overall plan of what we want it to look like in the end and kind of how we want to get there. Yeah.
A lot of first time things.
Yeah.
Like building cabinets.
We're learning how to we're learning how to do this.
Kitchen cabinets.
Yep. So we're going to start with building the carcasses and reinforcing what we need to reinforce so we can mount our sink and our stove. And then the rest of it is going to be kind of figured out as we go. Where our door heights are going to be, what size drawers we're going to have. The other night we were going to get ready to cut all of our sheets for the side pieces of our cabinetry. Watched some of our older videos. You've noticed that our prehistoric table saw was in fact prehistoric. May look prehistoric.
And it is.
Because it is. Maybe a table saw isn't the thing that you should use that's old and might not work. We went to go use it the other night, and it's officially shit the bed.
Time finally ran out.
So we're going to get creative, and we're going to see what we can do with what we have.
I think that
We need to make our initial cuts for the bigger pieces. Basically just cut down this bigger sheet into smaller, manageable pieces that can be thrown across the yard if need be. You never know. Since we don't have a table saw, we're using a piece of wood that is going to be our straight edge. I'm going to bring it down to make sure our straight edge stays where it needs to be. One thing to note, I was just thinking of, you want to make sure your makeshift straight edge is actually straight and it's not like curved in the center, because then it'll just curve your...
We are using a 2x4 or a 2x1. We did not check it.
Well, no, that 2x4 we cut, so we know it's straight. I think. We have faith.
Straight as a curly Q.
we give more than we take. Full of life and bursting forth. True nature can take. From on top of the world. Can't stop the urge. Give it another whirl. See what gives.
Jumping.
Honey.
What have we learned today?
Buy cabinets.
You have to go very slow or it will blow apart the wood.
Ugh.
You just gotta be careful. We got all our pieces cut, and so tonight's objective is to router out a 3/4 inch router bit to fit our bottoms, and then we'll router out a 1/4 inch for our slot for the backs to slide into. Normally you're supposed to router the bottoms so that way they line up with the top of your toe kick, so you have a seamless bottom. However, we figured that might be a little bit of wasted space because you have a whole, say, 2x2 square inch by 4 inch tall. That's a pretty good amount of space to put pans or cleaning supplies or whatever. That's a really good amount of space to lose. So what we're going to do, instead of doing that, set our bottoms a couple inches lower than what they're supposed to be. The bottom of the cabinet is going to be about an inch from the actual bottom of the cabinets.
Yeah.
Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Don't have access to a router table. We didn't want to buy a router table, so instead we bought a hand router. So we're going to use a straight edge and test our skills with that. So since we don't have a router table, we're going to be doing it by hand. You need to account for the edge of this to the center of your bit, and that's where we're going to have our straight edge that we're going to effectively use it as a guide to get a straight cut. The next thing we got to do is set our depth of our bit. So we don't want to go all the way through a 3/4 inch plywood, which is this bit is capable of doing. We just adjust the fence. I'm going to call it a fence because I don't know the actual term. we did our test piece, and you definitely have to go pretty slow, and you get a clean cut. This is why you do a test piece, because what we accounted for originally was 3 9/16, but that was on center of the bit. I forgot to subtract half of the bit, which is 3/4. Half of 3/4 is 3/8. Instead of a 1-inch edge, we ended up with 1 inch and 3/8. So that's why you use test pieces. Now we got it set up, got our measurements adjusted. We're just gonna see how it goes. We're actually gonna have to raise the blade a little bit. It leaves a little bit of a lip on the top, which means the blade's not cutting at the very, very top. It's just cutting through the center, which is no big deal. So we'll just take a sander and zip it quick. We'll raise it a little bit, about a 16. On this episode of The Unprofessionals, we make mistakes.
Several of them.
We made a calculation mistake. We forgot to calculate and stop short. You know what we call that? Character.
Oopsies poopsies.
Oh, I screwed up. Then we can do that. I just did it again. I just need to not screw up. Again.
You're
I
screwing.
need to pay attention. Alright, supposedly I'm not doing this right. I keep thinking in my head that obviously I'm not thinking. Just flip it. There you go. See? Hey, I got that one right.
When all is said and done, will you leave feet clean, unbothered like a prodigal son? Etched inside comical eye, for which your life is stained. Laughing ash from the fireborn, true nature contains.
Another night. We have all our pieces made. They are all pocket screwed for the pieces that need to be pocket screwed. They are sanded for the pieces that need to be sanded. And they are ready for at least assembling the carcasses of the cabinets. So that is tonight's objective.
Got our wood glue, got our pieces. We're already questioning our measurements, but everything's just fine.
We're gonna make it work anyway.
And for our building our cabinets, there's one part that we're going to be using glue with. We're going to be using glue in the grooves here only when you're attaching the sides to the bottom.
On top of the world, can't stop the urge. Get in another world, see what can. On top of the world, can't stop the urge.
A whirlwind of mistakes. I wish we were kidding. So you can plan all you want. It's very easy to make mistakes. Calculation error number 1. Our toe kick is supposed to cover this bottom section from the outside of the box to the outside of the box. We cut it so that way it would fit on the inside dimensions. So that's not going to work. Did our bottoms of the cabinets a little different just so we can gain that couple extra inches of storage downward. In doing so, we had to have a top toe kick that kind of boxed in that whole section there. That was also cut wrong because we miscalculated it. No big deal. We're still going to continue building the 2 sections, and in the end, we're going to end up doing a solid toe kick that'll cover the whole front as one piece, and it'll kind of help tie it all together. Might be a blessing in disguise. Oh, another thing, and I don't know how we missed this because it's blatantly obvious and friggin' ugly. But this, Larry, we didn't account for this when we were laying out our cabinets. Thankfully, it works out so that way the sides of this cabinet butts up to the sides of this, and it only shifts over our cabinets 1/8 of an inch. The entire thing only gets shifted over 1/8 of an inch. Not a big deal. We dodged that bullet more like dodged a missile because we probably would have had to reconfigure everything. But it doesn't work out perfectly. We're going to have to modify the center section when we put the pieces together, which isn't a big deal. We'll just have to build a box around it of some sorts. And we lose a bit of storage space for our drawers that we were planning on putting there. But plan ahead. What else did we screw up?
We still suggest planning, but we also suggest keeping your wood saw and any scrap material close by.
Also, we went to go put together our first carcass, and the bottom was way off. We must have cut one piece down in the width-wise, but we forgot to cut the length-wise, so it was about 6 inches too long. So, no big deal, we just chopped that. Put it in there, it fits great. Now we're getting ready to slide our backer into the back of the cabinet to really tie this all together. Another thing, we don't know if we used the pocket jig screw correctly. The head of our screws are protruding out. Seems like they should be more of an angle, or maybe we didn't go deep enough with the drill bit. They work, they're securing everything together. It's just when the backer slides in, it might bump into those a little bit. But just another thing that I don't know, it just didn't work out like we anticipated. And yes, we did buy specific pocket screws and bits. So theoretically they should all work. But anyway.
That feels like a box of chocolates.
We're making it all work. All in all, it's coming together. It's just not coming together as smoothly as we had planned for.
No good. Okay.
Why?
This is how we start all night. Got holes here. Holes here. No holes here. And no holes here.
It's been a learning process.
Ah.
Commence build.
I think that I found God, she said. She looked at me and smiled, as if my face would give away.
So tonight we have our 2 cabinet carcasses put together, and together we are using them to create a third, an in-betweener.
Yeah. So we're going to be using instead of doing an individual third cabinet where we have individual sides and then we double up in the end, we're going to use these 2 together, slide in bottom, and create that third section here.
The size of each cabinet carcass is going to be the size of our middle one. We built these and we had no plans for that.
No, we forgot about that. We taped it all off a while back. We're looking at it, we're like, yeah, this is going to work, the dimensions, blah, 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 blah. We completely forgot about the big old freaking lump. Plain and simple, we're just going to have to shorten this up so that way it'll butt up to that piece there. And then our backer, when it slides in, we'll have to cut it short so that way it bumps to there. It'll just be kind of notched. Slight modifications, little hindrance in the plans. It'll all work out in the end.
Nature can take on top of the world. Can't stop the urge. Give it another whirl. See what everything's alright.
We're dead nuts. Are we good or what?
Kidding me.
It may look wonky, but we're pretty damn good. Witness, 69 3/16 on the money. See that? You probably don't. When you pull your diagonals, just make sure you're squared up. Look at that. 69 3/16.
Focus.
Proof is in the pudding, folks. We're professionals.
See? A couple mistakes along the way are not going to stop you from getting your best final result.
There's a lot of mistakes. I'll tell you that for free. That does it for our carcasses. Actually, it's not Plural, it's singular.
Car
This
guy.
is our car guy. This is our carcass of our cabinets. So from here, we are going to actually end up removing this stretcher and that stretcher because of our style sink and stove that we have. But this is just holding it together so that way it holds our shape. And then we'll brace it and do all the detailed stuff. But that's going to be another video when we continue the build on our kitchen cabinets. Goodbye.